Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean. So glad to be back this morning. Random, fun little Man United news roundup video this morning. I wanted to address a few things that have been going on in the last 24 hours. Wanted to react to some things regarding our match later on today. Danny B, good morning. Big up, pal. Good to see you again. Been seeing a lot of you, man, not just on my channel either. That's been awesome. But obviously wanted to get your thoughts today. Do a really quick video this morning. Got a lot going on this afternoon. Apologies ahead of time if I'm super tired. Was out late last night doing trivia. Didn't get home till late. Well, late for me. Probably not late for a lot of you, but I'm old, so it is what it is. But I did get third place in trivia, so big up that. I do enjoy trivia. I don't know how you guys feel about trivia. I really like it. Trivia is just one of those things. Either you know it or you don't. There's no skill involved. There's no deduction. It's just you know the stuff or you don't. That's it. So it's always got to be some sort of stars aligning, Slumdog Millionaire kind of a situation to do well at trivia. Danny says they already started, for fuck's sake. Yes, they have. They have already started, and I'm here to call it out. I'm here to drag them. I'm here to throw some shade because at this point, I mean, as you can tell, the thumbnail, we're here to talk about just the complete hypocrisy and the complete 180 that the media have done regarding Ruben Amorim. Obviously, we spoke yesterday. A lot of updates. We had a lot of reflection on Amorim reportedly United triggering their release clause in the Sporting Lisbon contract. Fabrizio Romano has given it the here we go. Sporting confirmed United's intent to trigger that release clause yesterday in terms of Ruben Amorim. We spoke about that. Obviously, for those of you who eagle-eyed fans, caught me also on United TV's panel yesterday on Rich's channel. So if you haven't yet gone and watched that, go ahead and do so. And big up all of you who joined in that. I know a couple of familiar faces. Danny, I saw in there. Lionhearts, I saw. And I think Dark Crow was popping up in there as well yesterday. So it's good to see you guys in there getting involved. Big up, showing love to all the United channels out there. It was really a pleasure to be a part of that. So thanks to Rich and United TV for inviting me on yesterday. Had a blast. So big up again. But we are heavily involved. Looks like Ruben Amorim is going to be joining United. And again, as the thumbnail implies, the media are already sharpening the knives. They're already grabbing the torches and the pitchforks. They are already backtracking on so much of the headlines that regarding Amorim, literally up until he was basically confirmed to be joining United this week. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to get stuck in. We're going to point out all the hypocrisy. We're going to look at that. And then we're going to chat a little bit about Ruud van Nistelrooy's thoughts in the United review ahead of tonight's match. So Danny says, my brain cell's not swift enough anymore for trivia. Yeah, I mean, trivia is, I don't know if you guys, I mean, we have this thing called Sporkle. So it's just various bars, restaurants, whoever throughout the week do the trivia. It's pretty cool. There's like leagues and stuff. I don't have the account. Like the people that we go to are doing it. So I'm just there to kind of eat the food and contribute. Although the place last night was not great. It's so mind-boggling to me that when restaurants host trivia, so there's a lot of people, but they only have like 2 servers working. So needless to say, it took a long time to get her food. My wife's food was cold, wasn't even cooked. So it was just not a great experience food-wise. And it usually isn't, especially when it's like a brewery. Breweries are known for making, drinks, not for doing food. And so it is what it is. Big up, Nick. Good to see you this morning. So regarding Amorim, some quick little updates. So apparently Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth were in Lisbon yesterday to finalize that deal. Mail Sport has even claimed that from his time at Man City, Omar Barada knew that City were planning to replace Pep Guardiola with Ruben Amorim. And so because of that, because Omar Barada is now our CEO, he wanted to swoop in because he apparently knew that that's what City were planning to do when we wanted to get out ahead of them. So if true, we got super agent Barada doing the Lord's work out here. Justin, good morning, my guy. How are you, my friend? Do you speak French yet? Did you have enough of French yesterday? It's basically a Duolingo conversation, it sounds like. Furthermore, Mike Keegan is reporting that on the Amorim deal, there's a potential sticking point regarding the notice that was needed to put in and the compensation required in terms of the release clause. He says that the numbers of weeks that Sporting require for Amorim's notice, and they want a compensation fee for his coaching staff to basically leave Sporting and come with him to United. So that is another 5 million euros that Sporting want in order for us to get all that done quicker, to get the Sporting staff to come with him, which is going to be interesting to see the shakeup in our staff. You know, Ben Jacobs reported that they want the fee now. Otherwise, Amorim is going to have to see out like a month-long notice period. I don't think that's going to happen necessarily, but he did add that United aren't necessarily stressed or rushed or anything about it. We don't really feel a need to have him in before the Chelsea match. It would have been nice, but it sounds like we're not too rushed. As it stands, the plan is for Amorim to remain in charge of Sporting for their match on Friday. And then we'll see what happens after that. But you guys let me know. Would you want him in here for Chelsea? Are you hurried? Do you think we'll be fine? Are you not bothered about the Chelsea match? I don't think any of us looked at that on the schedule in the last few weeks and thought, yeah, that's 3 points. I hope it's not going to be robbery like it was last season. That was a shambles, but we'll see. I've seen that some people have been speculating about what Amorim's arrival means for Ruud, for Renehaka, for Andreas Jorsen, and Jelle ten Roeelaar. These guys are all our first-team coaching staff. Obviously, we just spoke about the 5 million euro fee that it would take for us to bring Amorim's staff with him. So what does that mean for our staff, right? Jason Burt with The Telegraph reports that he is alleging that Ruud van Nistelrooy expects to leave this season, whether that's when Amorim arrives or in the summer. And then Stephen Railson has added that it's expected that Amorim's coaching staff is going to join him at Old Trafford. So Amorim has previously made some statements regarding his love for his coaching staff, particularly Carlos Fernandez and Adelio Candido. He's previously stated that if he is Bobby Robson, then Carlos Fernandez is Jose Mourinho. So both coaches actually followed him from Braga to Sporting Lisbon in 2020. So it sounds like there's a strong chance we could see a shakeup of our coaching staff, whether that's now or in the summer. It does sound like we're going to see some changes. And obviously, it's probably going to be needed. I'm not saying there's anything bad about Renehaka or anybody like that, or Ruud. But when you have a manager who has tactics, his specific tactics, like Amorim does, that specific system, it does help ease the transition when you've got the coaches with you to do that. So it will be interesting to see what happens. It's going to be a lot of changes, both for us and for Sporting. If that's the case, both clubs will then be changing coaching staff again. We've just changed our coaching staff in the summer, and we're still only like a couple months into the season. So changing it again is going to be there's going to be a bit of a learning period there. So we need to be patient if this is the case. But you guys let me know your thoughts. Are you ready to see some changes in the coaching staff? Have you liked what you've seen from our tactics and from our coaching and our training so far? There seemed to be a little bit of favoritism in the coaching staff. A lot of people love Ruud. A lot of people don't like Renehaka for some reason. I don't know. We don't know who's in charge of what in training. But you guys let me know how you think, because one very, very, very interesting thing about Ruben Amorim allegedly joining Manchester United is how the media have already started going in on him. He hasn't even been officially announced. He hasn't even been revealed or anything, but the headlines everywhere are already putting a negative spin on this move, simply because it's United. If it was any other club, no one would care. The headlines are: West Ham rejected new United manager, United to appoint manager, Liverpool snubbed. If you go back all the way to late April when Amorim was meeting with clubs like West Ham and Liverpool and whatnot, the message was very different, even from the same sites. The headlines were nowhere near like this. I looked at one site in particular who literally stated in April that Amorim snubbed Liverpool, but their headlines this week have been the complete opposite. So it's low-hanging fruit. It's lazy journalism. It's anti-United agenda. The media is full of abus, and we know it. On West Ham specifically, I'm pretty sure Amorim rejected them, first of all. I don't know the specific details. You won't find it anywhere, but I've even seen on actual like West Ham news sites that Amorim rejected West Ham, that he flew there. The meeting didn't go well. He flew right back, basically same day. I've seen there's claims that his lack of experience outside Portugal led to West Ham reportedly rejecting him. Yes, West Ham. You had him fly all the way to London to meet before you then only found out he'd never managed outside Portugal. Yeah, that I believe that. I fully believe that. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Just the reaching and the speculation and just the bullcrap that you see. Regarding Liverpool, the reports are that Liverpool chose to go with Arne Slot because Amorim strongly adheres to a back three system, and Liverpool didn't want to do that. So Liverpool only looking for managers who have a back four. I mean, and then when they were interested in the summer, the headlines, they were nowhere. They weren't Liverpool want manager that West Ham rejected. They don't like want West Ham reject. That Liverpool aren't targeting manager that West Ham snubbed. That was not the headline back then when Liverpool were interested. The reports are just, they're very reaching. They're clutching at straws, and they're going to find any way they can to put a negative spin on Amorim joining United. But are we surprised at this point? I am not. Literally all it takes is a player, or in this case, a manager, to be even linked with United for the media to just start going in on them. And I will literally die on a hill for my belief that as much as the media twerked for Klopp during his time at Liverpool, they would have hounded him out had he actually accepted that United job years ago when we approached him. It would have been a completely different narrative. And this is what you get when you're at United. This is why some players and some managers just, there's a whole extra layer of whatever that blank is you want to fill when it comes to joining United, whether it's like resilience, whether it's thick skin, whether it's actually a proactive thing like engaging with that stuff, whatever that is, you have to have it at United. You have to be able to tune all that out just to be. Now, you don't get that at other clubs. You don't get this kind of negativity, this kind of relentless pressure and just noise all the time at any other club. Like, you just don't. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. A lot of money has been wasted on journalism degrees in the UK. These guys are shit at their jobs. And you could argue maybe that means they're good at their jobs because they're just doing this. But if that's what journalism is today, just tweeting and speculating and just playing the what if game and just trying to put a negative spin on, and sometimes just outright lying, like even from big outlets, like, count me out. I'm all set. Hated, adored, never ignored, though. Am I right? Journo's got to eat, and regurgitating a negative United piece was always going to get clicks. That's just the way it is. Slash the Snake Bit, welcome to the channel. What do you guys got going on here in the chat? Any of us need to sort this media shit out, ban certain journalists at the pressers. I saw another story today. I can't remember where it was from now off the top of my head, but they were claiming that United had actually reached out to some channel, I forget whether it was TNT or could have been Dortmund or whatever, to tell them to stop talking so positively about Sancho because it makes United look bad. If anyone believes that for 1 second, raise their hand and then immediately get the fuck out of the chat, because I'm not buying that at all. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Slash the Snake Pit says Liverpool don't want a manager who plays a back three, but they wanted Alonso who plays a back three. Exactly. And that's a great point, man. Like, it's just, it is what it is. You can't make this. It's insane. Slash the Snake. Does anyone see Lineker saying Lee Carly should get the job? Does anyone really listen to Gary Lineker anymore these days? I mean, yeah. I will say, though, on the attention, again, like as we're talking about the pressure and everything that you get at United, it is hilarious to me that Rodri wins the Ballon d'Or and literally same day all anyone is talking about is Ruben Amorim and Man United. It was literally the same with Jadon Sancho's fallout with Tenhag. City won a treble and literally nobody cared because all they talked about was Tenhag and Sancho. So there's that. I mean, at least we can brag about that, right? Nick says Slash also doesn't want a 3-string guitar. He's talking about the guitars. Danny B says Lineker is a male version of a Karen. Yeah, Lineker is just somebody I don't understand. Like, at what point can we just kind of refresh the commentating and the punditry? I think it's time for let's just kind of transition to a whole new system. Because some of these, I don't know how some of these guys still get. And again, I say I don't know how, but I know exactly how. It's because guys like Egbon Lahore, Simon Jordan, Carragher, it's because they draw clicks, because they spout nonsense, they talk controversy. Some of them don't even believe in what they're saying. Like Gabby Agbonlahor literally doesn't actually believe. He basically has a persona that he puts on when he's in front of a microphone. And that's just what he is, because that's what gets clicks. It's freaking hilarious. Slash is Snake Fist. Sancho had same goal contributions at Dortmund on loan as Anthony. Yeah, no one wants to talk about that though, do they? No one wants to talk about that at all. Slash is coming in with the smoke, and I'm here for it, honestly. I'm not going to make anything personal with Sancho, but again, like you're saying, you just point out the impersonal statistics and all that, and let the numbers speak for themselves. Like I said, hated, ignored, never ignored. So moving on, and you guys continue to get your chats in on that. So Ruud van Nistelrooy has shared his first thoughts as interim manager ahead of our Carabao Cup match against Leicester this afternoon. Go check out my preview yesterday for that one. We did talk a little bit of tactics. Not a whole lot of team news. Obviously, we weren't going to get a whole lot of pre-match press conference and everything, just with everything that has been going on this week. But he did put out a nice little piece in the program. Let me go through and read some of the major points from that. It was basically, it's pretty generic. He says, as I'm sure everyone can imagine, I'm writing these notes with a huge amount of mixed emotions. Erik ten Hag brought me back to United in the summer, and while I've only been a part of the staff here for a few months, I will always be grateful to him for giving me the opportunity, and I am saddened to see him leave. So again, Ruud reminding us that it was ten Hag who brought him back as coach, not necessarily just Ineos, and we mentioned that before on the channel. So I think we can kind of rubbish a lot of those early notions that the plan was always for Ruud to take over. I know a lot of people were speculating about that. Ruud's waiting for the job. Ruud wants the job. Ruud knows what's coming. Like, don't think that was the case. Ten Hag identified him. And again, vice versa, people will call out like De Ligt as a Ten Hag signing. Ineos targeted De Ligt. Ineos wanted De Ligt. It wasn't necessarily Ten Hag just saying, I want another former player, another Ajax player. That's not the case. Again, you can't only read the tweets. You can't only read the headlines. You have to deep this stuff to get to the truth. But what else has Ruud had to say here? He says, even on an interim basis, it is a great honor to manage the club I love for however long I'm asked to do so. I can promise that I will continue to give my all in whatever capacity to try to turn around our fortunes. He said, we've seen the squad's potential at times this season, but clearly not often enough. I don't know how you guys take that. Is he digging out the players? Is he just talking about just overall? How is it going? I mean, we know we haven't seen the potential. I mean, how often? We've seen it in spurts, 10, 15 minutes here to start a match, good second half here. We've never seen it for 90 minutes. We've never seen it over the span of a couple of games. We haven't put together 2 wins in a row. Like I said on United TV yesterday, like changing my expectations. And I put this out on Twitter, and I think I posted about it. Like, what are your expectations now that Amorim is coming in mid-season? Are your expectations different than what they were at the beginning of the season? What kind of grace do you give him? What do you want to see? My expectations are super, super low. Like I said on United TV yesterday, I just want us to put 2 wins together at some point this season. Maybe start scoring some goals, maybe not missing sitters. You guys let me know what your maybe edited expectations are for this season for United now that we're where we are in the table, or where we are in the Europa League. What would you guys prioritize now? What would you like to see? What are your demands? What are your expectations? Is basically the season just a free pass for Amorim now? Like, are you going hard in the paint and you want us to get some signings in January? Do you think we will get signings? We just spent 17 million to sack Ten Hag. We're going to be spending almost 10 million to bring in Amorim, maybe another 5 million to bring him in. So almost 30 million just in managerial shakeups right now. And we were already broke. We're already struggling with PSR. Do we think we're even going to be able to do any signings in January? Probably not, but we'll see. Danny B says, everything is up in the air. Ask me after Christmas. I feel like that's been, we've kind of been kicking the can down the road a little bit. Ask me after October, ask me after the international break, ask me after Thanksgiving, ask me after Christmas. It's going to be interesting. I think that if Amorim comes in soon and we don't have to deal with this 30-day notice period, I think we'll have a good amount of time for him at least to see, do I need anything in January? If at all possible, if we can find the funds, if there's some way to make it happen, I think we need to bring a left back. He's especially going to want to bring in a left back, at least a wing back. It does shake up a little bit of who we have personnel-wise. Maybe Luke Shaw will be fit by then. I don't know. I don't know if Luke Shaw and fit are ever in the same sentence, but we'll see how he feels. We'll see if he thinks his midfielders can handle the workload. We'll see how he feels about Rashford, Garnacho, Dallo, things like that. Danny B says he won't be buying anything special in January. There are some deals that we could do. I'm curious to see now because we've been linked with so many young players: Mestan Tuono, Nipan, all these guys. Angel Gomez, obviously, we've been linked with. I don't know how real that is, but that would be. Are we still? Is Ineos? That's still the plan? Is Amoros or Amorim kind of fall into Ineos's structure and this identity that they're trying to instill moving forward? Is that why we went for him? He's used to being at Sporting where, there is a lot of player turnaround because they do produce a lot of good talent, but they also have good recruitment and they bring in a lot of good players. Bringing in Victor Gyökeres was a stroke of genius. Bringing in Morten Holman was a stroke of genius. They've got a lot of good youngsters in their defense, especially Ignacio Diamande. They signed Zeno de Bast in the summer as well. They have a lot of really good players, and they keep turning that around. So he's used to working, not with a huge budget. He's used to getting the most out of these young players, especially. So it could be kind of a match made in heaven in that regard. Nick says, look at his mannerisms. I think Amorim will elevate the team and may finish at least 7th. Wow, that's a big call, man. I hope you're right. I was saying the other week, before Ten Hag was sacked, I think that 8th, 9th is probably our level right now because it's a lot of ground to make up on. Because you're counting on a lot of other teams struggling. Danny says, Frank, Mestan 2-1 was a dream. Be very surprised if we landed. Do you think he could fit under a Ruben Amorim system, maybe in the 3-4-2-1? I could definitely see Mestan 2-1 coming in and kind of slowly integrating into one of those two positions behind the striker, rotating for a little bit, especially if we manage maybe to get rid of Anthony, depending on what happens with Amad Diallo. I do see him in that Amad Diallo mold. Danny, you let me know how you feel. You watch a lot more South American football than I do. Because I know he can play wide, but he does generally play as a 10. But he is very young still. But we've also been linked with Nipan as well, who kind of plays in a similar position. So you let me know. Danny says, work better because Amorim likes 2-10s. Yeah, he does kind of like that. A lot of people call it like a 3-4-3. I think when people say 3-4-3, more often than not, the mental image is, 2 wingers and a striker kind of in that same line, kind of like what you see like a 4-3-3. But I think it really is more of a 3-4-2-1 with those 2 kind of inside forwards, those 9.5 kind of operating in the channels kind of thing, which I do think would really get the most out of Rashford and Garnacho. But it's up to them in terms of their individual effort and quality on a given day to meet the demands there. Continuing with Rudy, says, now is the time for everyone at the club to work together, give everything and turn this season around while we have time. From my experiences as both a player and coach here, I can say for sure that when players, staff, and supporters pull together, Manchester United can be unstoppable. So really calling on everybody to unite, to remain united, like the channel name implies, united versus everybody. Fergie used to do, this is why I call the channel what it is, siege mentality. Pull up the drawbridge. It's us versus the world. We need to just be supported, get the spears out like it's 300 or something, and work together. You can disagree, you can criticize, you can demand more, you can rage, but you can still support the club, the players, the coaches, the manager, in spite of all that. You can still support while criticize. You can still demand more while pushing them onward. Like, both things can happen at the same time. Ruud again says, thankfully we have time on our side, and with fixtures coming so regularly now, we also have plenty of opportunities to build up some positive momentum. So it does sound like Ruud is relishing the fixture schedule. It sounds like he's kind of implying that it's better to keep playing these games, to have these games, because it just gives you more chances to work on things, to iron out the kinks, to build the momentum. Obviously, you can't build momentum when you're not playing matches. And yes, the matches are coming thick and fast right now, but if we can string together a couple good results, it can do a lot for morale, a lot for that momentum, like you're saying, a lot for player mentality. And yes, it's a simple thing, but it is effective. Then he says, Nipan hopefully could have the same ceiling as João Neves. I do like Nipan. Like João Neves, to me, looks more like a Frankie de Jong. Nipan to me seems more like an Odegaard, but I think that with good coaching, because they are, he is so young, it could be one of those situations where he can kind of work on, he can be kind of like what Pedro Gonçalves is at Sporting, that kind of player as well, who can play a multitude of roles in that system. Just seeing what else Ruud has said here. So says, when I returned in the summer as Eric's assistant, it was because I believe that Manchester United can climb back to the levels that I knew here as a player. I still have that belief, but it will take time and a lot of hard work. The first step is to restore the winning habit, starting at Old Trafford this evening. I know firsthand the positive effect that our wonderful fans can have on the team. So please get behind the players as we fight together to move a step closer to Wembley. Do you think we will be getting to Wembley at all this season? Are you confident in an FA Cup run? Are you confident in the League Cup? Leicester, obviously we did in the preview, are struggling, but they can surprise you. And right now, with what we've seen from United, all bets are off. So you guys let me know your thoughts. Danny says no, not really. Danny, one thing I love about you, man, is you don't mince words, man. You just tell it straight, and I respect that, and I'm here for it. Just get right to it, be honest, and give reasons why. That's all we ask. So that is going to do it for me. Like I said, you guys, real quick news video today, mostly just because as I woke up this morning and I'm flipping through Twitter as I'm going around online, all I see is this hypocrisy, negative spin, the abus, the agendas, the bias, all of it. And the reason I wanted to call it out today is because literally from these exact same sites, it is a complete 180 spin from what they were saying last spring, last April. It was never Liverpool want West Ham reject. It was never, Liverpool snub Amorim. It was the complete opposite. And we got to point it out. We have to keep pointing it out. So if you see it, say it. Danny says mainstream media is finished. Mainstream media I think Sky hates us after that deal fell through way back when they tried to buy the club. Obviously, we know certain journos are not fans of us. We know pundits are not fans. I don't know why guys like Souness, Jordan at Ban Lahore, Carragher, I don't know how these guys are allowed to have microphones. I wish Gary Neville would be a little bit more open, not necessarily biased, but just more open. Gary Neville is a little too reserved for me when it comes to his thoughts on United, especially when you're sitting right next to Jamie Carragher, and Jamie Carragher can say whatever he wants, even during a Liverpool United match or something. But the mainstream media is done. ESPN are a joke. It's embarrassing, but it is what it is. I appreciate everyone stopping by. Again, go check out yesterday's preview if you haven't yet for this match. Go check out the stream from United TV as well. Like I said, I jumped on that panel yesterday, so big up Rich for inviting me on. Had a blast chatting with him and Naomi about Amorim and everything. And then, like I said, I saw a couple of you guys jump on there yesterday, so big up for supporting the channels as well. We will be back probably tomorrow to reflect on this match and also maybe preview the Chelsea match as well. So be sure to come back for that. Barring any major news updates, I will see you guys then. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the match wherever you're watching it from. I'm probably going to meet up with Dylan later on to watch that. So you guys remember Dylan. So show Dylan some love. And I will see you guys on the next one. Enjoy your day. Later.